Hey there, YouTuber fam. Jonny Cashflow here. Hope you guys are doing awesome. I am here today to talk about the causes of the broken system. I talk about this in my book, Cashflow Manifesto, I wrote 5 years ago. And, I just want to share these 7 causes with you. I believe it's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, I counted correctly. These 7 causes of a broken system, and I'll go through the 7 causes, and I do want to preface with saying that we want to look at the causes of the broken system, not to say, oh, things are hopeless, there's nothing we can do, the man is against us, and, just kind of throw our hands up on that attitude. Instead, we want to understand the system so that we can operate within it and attain our own financial independence, so that we're not trapped by the problems in the system that currently exist. So let's jump right into it. Starting with a quote from my boy Darren Hardy from The Compound Effect. If you haven't read it, it's exceptional. But complacency has impacted all great empires. People get to a certain level of success and get complacent. So what caused the defunct system? The first thing I want to talk about is the four-eyed monster. Very apropos for Halloween, it's the four-eyed monster. There is a four-eyed monster living under your house. What is it? It's inflation, income tax, insurance, and interest rate. Get it? Four-eyed monster? Okay. These 4 factors are why it feels like you are in a hamster wheel and will struggle to ever make enough money in the hours that you are working to be able to stop working solely from the income of your day job. Imagine being a millionaire, but due to the four-eyed monster, you're still unable to pay your bills. If cash is king, then the king is no match for this monster. Truly, cash flow is king. So it's the whole idea that, especially when you're just trading your time for money, it's going to be impossible to beat out this four-eyed monster. The inflation, income tax, insurance, and interest that you're always going to be paying is always going to exponentially outpace the income that you're ever able to make in most jobs, trading your time for money. And that's why I encourage people, and I have found ways to leverage myself, leverage my time based on my results. I do this in real estate, I do this in recruiting, where it doesn't necessarily matter how much time I'm putting in a search or in lining up a candidate, getting a contractor hired, getting a real estate deal completed. I'm able to leverage my efforts and therefore make more income than just by trading your time for money in most standard positions. So that's the concept of the four-eyed monster. Next is the power of the penny. So it's a simple question. If you had the choice between $3 million today or 1 cent doubled for a month, and let's say it's 31 days, let's say it's October, it's Halloween, right? So it's 31 days in October, what would you choose? And most people, most employed people, which is most people, would say, give me the cash, I want that $3 million, I want that nice windfall, I'm buying a condo on the beach. But if you actually think about it before you go and close on that condo, then you'll realize on the 31st day that penny will have doubled and doubled and doubled to over $10.7 million. Now the answer is obvious, you want that penny that doubles for 31 days. But then again, what if it was actually 31 months that it took to get there? Would you have the patience to wait the 3 years for the extra $7 million? Most likely, if you have a job, the answer is no, because you could really use that $3 million now. And, full disclosure, I have a job. Nothing wrong with having a job, but while having a job, also be pursuing financial freedom, or have a job that helps facilitate that financial freedom by leveraging your results instead of just trading your time for money. Okay, I digress. That question and analogy which Darren Hardy discusses in The Compound Effect is a critical difference between the financially wealthy and the financially struggling. They think different. As an employee, I have more of a microwave mentality of needing some paycheck every 2 weeks, as opposed to a wealth builder who always thinks in terms of 3, 5, and 10-year returns. I do not in any way minimize the fact that everyone is born into different circumstances and many people have much less to overcome to build wealth, but my point is that it is simply a difference in mentality which can be taught. I once heard someone say, if you evenly distributed all the money and wealth in the world to all of the world, everyone would be back to a similar situation within 10 years. And while that may be an exaggeration, I do agree that there is a certain mindset which builds and sustains wealth, which I hope you will start to adopt as you progress through this manifesto. So, third cause of the broken system, scarcity mindset. Are y'all still with me? It gets better. Stay with me. Stay focused. It gets juicy. It gets juicy. I get into the meat and potatoes. But I will say, just briefly, I've been going through the problems in the solution in the system. This is the causes, and then when we really get to the solutions is really where we'll get granular and talk about a lot of the details. But understanding these causes is crucial to understand what could be some potential solutions for you, because ultimately in the solutions that we'll provide, it will be determinant a lot on your skills as an entrepreneur or your risk tolerance as an investor in terms of what actually makes sense for you. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I think is missed in a lot of like rah-rah sis boom bah on YouTube about financial education is like, yes, we're all building wealth, that's great, we're all finding avenues to make our money through different, whether it's real estate or investments or different sales opportunities or resale or e-commerce or ClickFunnels, whatever we're doing in order to build that wealth and grow it to a level that it can sustain ourselves and ideally become a generational thing.
Hi, Daddy.
Funny. Yes, my love. Aria's Adventures, ladies and gentlemen, she has joined. She's joined Jonny Cashflow.
Daddy.
What up, girl? How you doing? I was just talking about generational wealth.
Can you put me to sleep?
Oh, I gotta put you to sleep.
Not right now, but.
Because
I want to stay up later.
You're missing the hustle here. See, her hustle is, you think, oh, it's so sweet. She wants, don't mess up my framing. It took me 3 hours to get it right.
I'm not gonna mess with it.
This girl, you think it's so sweet because, oh, you think she wants me to put her to bed. And she does. But she wants me to put her to bed in 2 hours so that she can stay up and play Roblox until 11 at night. Is that correct? Is that accurate?
No, play with my slime. I'm not on my tablet.
Oh, well, at least you're not on your tablet. That's good. Oh, and it wouldn't be 2 hours. 2 hours from now is 12:30, so you're trying to stay up. But, okay, all right.
Yay! Best daddy ever.
You know, I'll succumb. All right. And that has been Aria's Adventures cameo. That's good. That's good. I'll get some views on that. I'm sure that'll be fun. I'm definitely keeping that. Not editing any of that. All right. Anyways, like I was saying, I told you it was going to get better. All right. So number 3. Here we go. Scarcity mindset. You wake up late. You didn't get enough sleep. And do not have enough time to get to work. All day we flood our minds with the illusion of scarcity, much like we do in economics. In the 1960s, Paul Ehrlich predicted the population bomb. This is a quote. "The battle to feed all humanity is over. In the 1970s, hundreds of millions of people are going to starve. Nothing can prevent a substantial increase in the death rate. Since that time, the planet's population has more than doubled to over, I think we've broken 8 billion people now. And these are people who are, quote, healthier, wealthier, and better fed than the people in 1968, according to economist Paul Zane Pilzer. In Pilzer's book, God Wants You to Be Rich, he describes his cornucopian theory of economics, which proposes that scarcity is, quote, an erroneous economic belief due to our ability to tap natural resources. One example is that fuel that powers our cars, which was previously unavailable due to our technological capability. Pilzer explains his belief that, quote, our economic theories are based on outdated concepts of scarce resources and technological stability as opposed to an ever-increasing abundance due to technological advances. Excuse me, guys, did you hear that, okay? If you haven't read God Wants You to Be Rich, it's a fantastic book, okay? And he is emphasizing that our economic theories are based on outdated concepts of scarce resources and technological stability as opposed to an ever-increasing abundance due to technological advances. Can I get an amen? During the Great Depression, John Maynard Keynes envisioned that advancing technology would lower the cost of producing goods to the point that everyone could afford luxuries. You can see that in something as simple as your ability to have a push-start engine feature on your Hyundai Sonata, when a decade before that was only available to luxury drivers. The limiting belief of scarcity perpetuates the belief that only a select few can be successful, because if resources are limited, then I need someone to have less for me to have more. Yet if you instead believe that technology and new business models can create abundance, then the whole of humanity has the capacity to grow wealth. The problem is that the limiting belief of scarcity ignores our greatest natural resource, which is human ingenuity. Number 4, fear of failure. There are so many people in the world that have the gumption to bring there are so few people in the world that have the gumption to bring their dreams to reality that people will take that as an example of how unlikely it is to succeed at whatever your dream is. My dream since I was 22 was to make 6 figures, live anywhere I want in the country or the world, and not need a day job. But by pursuing that ambition, I am putting myself out there to fall short of that goal. The problem is that the fear of failure kills more dreams than failure ever has. Don't let your fears outweigh your dreams. It is better to have valiantly failed at an endeavor than to let fear hold you back from ever attempting your dreams. Additionally, just because someone has fallen short of their expectations in the past, they establish limiting beliefs for their ability to succeed in the future. You do not need to be a prisoner of the past. The truth is that you are not defined by your past. You are prepared by it and have the abilities you gained from it. Number 5, the government, the monetary system, and the cycle of power and wealth. I'm going to call it out here. I hope I don't get in trouble for this one. Didn't I say no government talk on my channel? What happened? No politics. That's what I said. No politics. Don't want no politics. Please, no politics. It's all about the government. The system is the system, whoever the president is. Okay? That's what I'll say. That's my only. I'm going to try to avoid political statements altogether. But here we go. The government, the monetary system, and the cycle of power and wealth. Government plays a role in creating rules which either perpetuate social mobility or income inequality. We are all currently slaves to the monetary system. In the past 30 years, now 40 years, income inequality from 1980 to 1920, income inequality has grown like never before as more money and corporations are able to influence politics. As wealthier individuals have political interests, they create legislation in their best interest to maintain and grow their wealth. This goes back well before Trump reduced the estate tax for his heirs. In the S&L crisis in the 1980s, we saw regulations loosened and S&Ls participate in riskier and riskier investments, which led to insolvency and an over $124 billion bailout of the FLIC. In 1999, the U.S. repealed the Glass-Steagall Act, which protected the savings of Americans from being used in speculation on Wall Street, eliminating the separation between commercial and investment banking, which has been established for 7 decades. This ingenious decision played a role in ultimately leading to the financial crisis and bailouts a decade later. In Saving Capitalism, Robert Reich, former Secretary of Labor, explains how this cycle of political influence and money has led to over $100 billion in corporate welfare in terms of tax cuts and incentives. In the documentary Zeitgeist to the Addendum, which if you haven't seen, you gotta see. If you're interested in financial independence, at least watch the first 20 minutes of Zeitgeist to the Addendum, because it is the most succinct synopsis of what fiat currency is and how the monetary system works, and it's excellent. They eloquently explain how the cash supply is expanded in the banking system through modern money mechanics. The important thing this reveals is that our financial institutions will always be plagued with instability because of the constant need to satisfy interest payments on the debt to banks and the Federal Reserve. The monetary system is able to be used as a tool for banks and government to consolidate and maintain power. This is just a few examples of how the system is created by and for wealthy individuals to grow their wealth, while leaving average Americans with the liability of financial turmoil caused by events like the S&L crisis and government bailouts. Number 6! Difference between free enterprise and capitalism and communism. Don't cancel me, bro. Karl Marx actually coined the term capitalism as a negative opposition to his concept of communism. Yet this is actually more based on earlier abuses in unfettered free market and vestiges of mercantilist economy that the free enterprise was rapidly replacing, according to economist Paul Zane Pilzer. In reality, there is also a misunderstanding between the concept of capitalism and free enterprise. So just to dive deeper into that, the mercantilists were essentially had more control than the concept of the free market, where everybody, it's the idea of the free market is it's a level playing field, right? And so how capitalism was demonized is relating it to the mercantilist, who essentially just kind of ran the world with, like, money was power to them, and it's kind of the worst paintings of what capitalism can be, right? Instead of a vehicle for growth for everybody, it's a thing to enslave everybody, right? So the difference between capitalism and free enterprise that most people don't understand. Free enterprise is about equal opportunity, while capitalism is more about utilizing capital as a power to essentially boss people around and control outcomes for the benefit of a select few. Yet technology is changing faster than mentality and occupational shifts. We are working off of a 20th century mentality and wondering why it is failing in the 21st century reality. This manifesto is about helping to reawaken the true free enterprise nature of human ingenuity. In the last century, we shifted away from entrepreneurship when we shifted away from an agricultural society in exchange for the promised security of corporate America. I also enjoyed Pilzer's view of measuring economic success in terms of capitalistic humanism, which values economic success in terms of the both financial and holistic success of the individual. Number 7. We're bringing it home. We're landing the plane, guys. I don't know how long this video is. I hope it's under a half hour, because I know, even with my favorite YouTubers... Oh, and I'll make that video soon. I'm gonna make a video. Check it out on probably like my 8 to 10 favorite financial YouTubers that you should definitely check out. So, anyways, you guys can scroll through and look through that. Find that one. But, we're going to land this plane on number 7. Job security is a passé delusion. Trading time for money, you will always feel strapped for both. However, when you invest time and money into an asset which allows you to duplicate your efforts without requiring more of your time, you can have control of both your time and money. For instance, say you have 40 hours to earn in a week, and you're doing really well, you're making $25 an hour. Then, even if your spouse also works with a similar income, you still have limited discretionary time and income for vacations, and you'd be nervous about your ability to pay your bills if one or both of you lost your job. Yet, if you have a big business of over 500 employees, you have a work week of 20,000 hours. And if you just generate $2 for each hour worked, you can see how your cash flow would exceed your expenses of the four-eyed monster, and you would no longer be beholden to trading your time for money at a job. This is what I mean when I say true financial freedom. As we progress in this YouTube series, in this book, I will discuss the best ways I have seen to create this level of debt-free cash flow after pursuing mentors in this arena for more than a decade. So, that is where I will leave you off. Those are the biggest causes that I see kind of in the system, you know, and it touches on a lot of different things. And in the future videos, the biggest things that I'll talk about in the solution is the mindset and the models that lead to financial independence. So definitely check those out in the coming videos. It's been awesome. It's been fun. If I don't see you, you know, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Much love. See you, family.